a special edition for our ITC candidates running with the hashtag 22% conquerors. Today, our guest is Grace Mukasa, and she's going to be telling us about her journey, how she did it, how she conquered ITC after so many attempts, and also given the hard year that 2020 was. So if you can assist me in giving Grace a very warm welcome. Hello, Grace.
Hi, Kakanya. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm doing good. And how was your day? Since, yes, we talked.
My day was quite busy, actually. It was quite busy, but I'm so glad it's the weekend. You know, I mean, everybody looks forward to Friday. So I'm definitely glad that it's the weekend. But I had a good day overall.
Yeah, the feeling is mutual. It was such a long day. So busy also. It was very busy.
Yeah.
So are you ready for us?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, let's get this rolling. So to everyone at home, if you have any questions, you can send them through. You can start sending your questions through while we are talking, and then I will put them through to Grace at 7:15. So we'll have 15 minutes to go through your questions. If you have anything, any comments, any questions, you can keep them coming through, and then I will relay them over to Grace. So question number one, let's start. I want the viewers to get to know you before we start unpacking your ITC journey. But if you can just tell us, who is Grace? Where did you grow up? What are your hobbies? Beside like the Grace away from work, from the ITC, from an aspiring CA, who is Grace?
Okay. So yes, my name is Grace, and I was born in a small town called Butterworth in the Eastern Cape. And I was born to parents who were born and raised in Uganda. They moved from Uganda to Botswana, then from Botswana to Lesotho, and then eventually they settled in Transkei in the Eastern Cape, where I was born. And so I grew up in the Eastern Cape and I did most of my early schooling years as well as my high school years in the Eastern Cape. And then varsity, I went to the University of the Free State. And then thereafter, I landed up in Johannesburg, where I have been for the last while. And then in terms of just myself, hey, I think I am just, for those who know me, they'll know that I'm a very bubbly person, very talkative. So I have to always just catch myself a little bit. Very bubbly, very talkative. I absolutely love, in terms of some of my hobbies or my interests, I love singing. I used to think growing up that I would one day land up on Broadway, but clearly not.
Good, Broadway. You must be.
So I was just about to put a disclaimer to say that, look, I'm not saying I'm the next SA idol or anything like that. But I mean, I can definitely hold a note, you know. And then I love dancing, but like I think the past couple of years, hey, I don't know if it's age that's catching up with me, or I just feel like I'm not in it anymore. But generally, I love dancing, I love singing, I love traveling. But I mean, the last international trip that I took was back in 2018. So since then, I've just been doing sort of local trips because I used to always travel outside of South Africa. So now I sort of just travel to places around. So if you didn't catch it, I said that I was born and raised by Ugandan parents. So originally they're from Uganda. So that's why I have a long double barrel surname. And in terms of some of the local languages, I can speak them not 100% fluently, but I can definitely find my way. Xhosa obviously would be the one that I understand the most because, like I said, I grew up in the Eastern Cape. And then all these other languages like Sotho, Tswana, Sepedi, all of that I've just sort of picked up along the way. So so traveling, singing, dancing, love interacting with people. I love going out to eat at restaurants when I can, but more than anything, I really just love interacting with people. My nephew keeps me busy as well and keeps me on my toes in terms of sort of being healthy and fit and running around. But that's what I do in my spare time outside of Grace. Yeah, Grace the professional.
So I hear that you say that you love singing, you love dancing. Are you sure that you're not in the wrong career path? I think you belong to the arts.
No, no, no. I actually like singing more than I like dancing. Dancing, I think I'm just trying. I'm just trying, really.
When we close off the show, you'll hit us with a note just to say goodbye. Come on.
No, no, no. I'll think about it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it.
Let's
Yeah.
give you some time to think about it. You have about 40 minutes to think about it. See, I'm asking so nicely. I'm even speaking so calm. Please.
I don't know. We'll see about that. I'm shy, so.
Oh, you said you love interacting with people, so there's no way you could be shy when you love interacting with people. I disagree. There is no
Interacting
way.
and singing for people is two different things.
But you know, the fun part is no one can see you. They can see you, but you can't see them. So it's a win-win. Just think about it. Yeah. Ne?
I will think about
So
it.
let's unpack your education, having this passion, or where did it start of you wanting to become a CA, and how did you go about that? If you can just give us your journey from, you can start at high school, going to university, doing your CTA, landing up in ITC.
Okay, so growing up, my family members used to tease me because I used to always say that I want to be a shopkeeper. And the reason why I wanted to be a shopkeeper was because I used to always think, oh, I can eat all the sweets, chocolates, whatever it might be. And as a shop owner, because obviously growing up, there's restrictions. Your parents like to restrict you a lot. So I thought, shopkeepers, why not? I mean, I'll be making money and enjoying all of that stuff. But honestly, like when I was younger, I didn't really have any sort of ambition. And then I think when I got to sort of grade 7 or grade 8, I started hearing about, the accounting profession, being a chartered accountant. And back then, I mean, I think it was more lucrative then than now, because people there were very few CAs, very, very few Black CAs at the time. So sort of relatives would talk about becoming a chartered accountant. And so I thought, okay, let me just go, let me embark on this journey and then see where it takes me, even though I didn't really understand it at the time. But obviously, when I got to sort of about grade 11 or so, I started, I really enjoyed accounting and sort of your business, your commercial kind of subjects. So I thought, you know what, since they say that there's money in this profession, why not? And then come varsity, obviously I did my research, and then I found out that actually, there's a lot of opportunities. If I embark on this particular CA journey, then it will open up so many different opportunities for me. So I think that is actually what really fueled me to getting into this profession.
Mm-hmm. So I hear you saying that, just to take you back a bit, that once you started learning and knowing more about it, you discovered that there are a lot more opportunities in the CA field. So what would you say are the opportunities or the doors that being a CA can open for one?
So what I really liked about the profession is that you're not restricted. So people outside of the profession will always think that it's just about number crunching. And truth be told, I think I used to even find myself getting irritated with some of my peers who are not in the profession, because they'll be like, oh, it's just about debits and credits type of thing, number crunching, it's boring. Yes, people in that profession are too serious kind of thing, and yet I would always try and school them to say that, guys, there's so much more to this profession, because you're not limited to, it's not just about accounting, it's actually about being in the commercial space, and sort of understanding different industries. So for me, the opportunities were the fact that I wouldn't be restricted to any one particular industry. I could go into different sectors because you are trained in such a way that you can adapt to any and every sort of sector, of course, with the exception of things like medicine. I mean, yeah. But yeah, you get what I'm saying.
I do. So let's take it back a bit. Doing your CTA, how was the journey for you, comparing it to ITC? Which one did you find easier, or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but yeah. How was CTA? How was your journey with CTA?
Where do I even start? So to answer one of the questions that you posed to me in terms of which one was maybe more challenging, CTA versus ITC, I would definitely say CTA was more demanding. It was more demanding because, like, I mean, it's a whole year long, rigorous assessments, and like, yeah, there was just so much that was required because you're going to such a deep level in terms of all the different disciplines. And also, you know, there's that buzz, there's people talking about how difficult CTA is. So of course, that also plays on your psyche, you know. So you also start believing that it is difficult and you can't pass it. So I think there's a lot of things, you know, the sort of the negativity around whether people can pass it or not. So definitely, and also the work itself, I think it was more demanding. ITC for me was at least you could get breaks in between. And the nice thing is that there are opportunities. You don't have to wait a whole year to be able to do it again, you know? So definitely, I think ITC is better, especially because I had work experience as well. So that helps. Whereas when you're doing CTA, you don't always have that work experience to back you up to fully understand the different disciplines. So yeah.
No, okay, I hear you. And then also, would you say while we were talking this whole week, I remember there was a point where you told, I think you did your CTA and then you decided, oh no, it was becoming too difficult, and then you decided to leave it. When you decided to go back to finish it up, you found that your degree was now too old, and then you had to start all over again. So can you just tell us a bit about that?
So yes, my CTA journey started many years ago. I am much older than I look. It started many years ago, and I failed CTA 3 times. The third time I did it with UNISA. So the first 2 attempts I did it with the University of the Free State. Third time was with UNISA, and then I thought to myself, you know what? This is not working out for me. It was really difficult for me because I have always sort of been like a straight A student. I've always done well academically. I mean, I think even my family can attest to how I was very studious. I was diligent. I've never been somebody that slacks, you know. As much as I enjoy also the social things in life, I've always been very serious about my studies. So when things didn't work out after the third attempt, I just realized, you know what, maybe this is just not for me. And I'm just trying to force this whole CA journey. So then I left it, and for about 4 or 5 years, I mean, I entered into the professional work environment. I got a lot of exposure. I was even thinking of even studying something completely different. I mean, I was looking at MBAs because I was like, no, I'm too smart for this. I mean, if the CA journey is not working, I mean, why not try my MBA or something like that, you know, because I felt that I couldn't just leave it at an honors because at the time I managed, as much as I didn't get CTA, I had my BCom accounting honors. So then let's just call it through a divine, can I call it, encounter and a series of different events during my working period and sort of interacting with some people that I had lost touch of, I realized that, you know what, if I don't come back to the CA profession, then I will always have regrets. And one thing in life is I never, ever, ever want to regret things. Like, I don't want to ever wonder what could have happened, or if I had just persisted and pursued this thing longer, maybe things would have worked out. So I honestly think that naturally I'm not a resilient person, but this CA journey has definitely made me resilient. And I think that's one of the positives that I can truly get out of it. So then I came back to it in 2015, where my degree was too old now, and I decided to do it with UNISA because I was already working. And so imagine, guys, like having a postgraduate qualification and having to do third year again. It was very humbling for me. But nevertheless, I did it because I was so focused on attaining the CA qualification. I was like, no, you know what? I need to do this for myself. So yes, I got back into it. I did my third year in 2015. Then in 2016, I did CTA level 1. In 2017, I did CTA level 2. And then, yeah, my ITC journey began in 2018.
So now going into ITC, we are running with the hashtag 22% conquerors for the candidates who wrote ITC November 2020. So I Googled the name conquerors, and the first thing that came up was to win by overcoming obstacles, right? And then I went to your name. So when you Google your name, in the biblical meaning, we all know it as the love and the mercy that God gives us, even though we don't deserve it. Like you could say divine intervention in our lives. But then when you Google it, not in the biblical sense, it goes to say that it's the smoothness and elegance of movement. So listening to you, we can say
I like that.
It wasn't so smooth. So you truly are a conqueror. You won by overcoming so many obstacles. So ITC 2020, right? There were so many changes. Initially, you had to write it was in June. And then they changed. They were like, no, guys, you'll come back and write in November. Did those changes disturb you in any way along your journey, your preparation? How did you feel about it? Were you happy given to have more time to study? Or did you feel like, I just want to do this and get it over with? How was 2020 plus given the so difficult year that it was with COVID, people losing their jobs, being adjusting to working from home. Now you have to study. So how was it?
So when I failed last year in January, I was like, no, this is not working, because I mean, even at work, I had a plan. I'm like, you know what? I'm writing ITC in January. I'm going to pass, and then I'll write APC in the same year. Because I mean, I've been on this journey for so long. So like, I've been really focused in terms of me just qualifying and getting this thing, because I really haven't had a smooth journey, as you've just said. So when I didn't make it and I heard that I was writing in June, I was like, you know what, it's fine, because the results came out in March. I was like, it's fine. It's just 2 months. I'll write in June, and then I'll still join like one of these professional programs for APC and write APC. So in other words, I thought, okay, fine, it's a little bit of a hump in the road, but I will still be able to write APC, and things will work out accordingly. So when now Psyche came back and said that, okay, no, there's more time, like, we can write in November, whilst other people were celebrating and saying, wow, at least we've got extra time and all of that, because like you mentioned, COVID really just took a toll on everybody. Our working lives changed, our home situations changed, a lot changed, and a lot of people were negatively impacted, especially because you're trying to balance studies, some people it's even kids, work, etc. So for me, I was actually very disappointed, because I mean, it completely ruined my plan, because now I couldn't write APC in the same year. And like I said, like, I'm at a point in time where I'm like, I want to get this qualification so that my life can begin in terms of my so that my life can actually begin, in terms of some of my career aspirations. So anyway, after getting over, it took me a while to get over it, I think about a month or so, because in between, so the results came out on a Friday in March, and I found out that I had failed. And then, of course, I was very depressed about it over the weekend. Come Monday, because I knew it was my last attempt, and I thought, you know what, it's do or die. So already the Monday, I started studying. So from that Monday till, like Saika said, that the exams are going to be postponed, I was studying, because I was like, it's my last attempt, no excuses. So that if let's say the outcome is that I failed again on my last attempt, I need to be able to tell myself that I gave it my absolute all. So anyway, yeah, so for me, in terms of, after I got over the fact that we were writing in November, I calmed down. I took, I think, about a month and a half's break, and then I started getting into it again to prepare for November.
To distress or to leave studying as a whole, you left your books, and then
I left my books. I felt like, you know what, my brain was cluttered. And of course, you're disappointed. You're wondering, why have you been failing over and over and over again? Mind you, each and every attempt I was studying. So it's not like, I was chilling, I wasn't serious. Like, I was studying every time, and I just didn't quite understand why I was not making it. So I took that 2 months off to just really get my thoughts together, because I knew that if my mindset was not right, then for sure I would end up failing again. So those 2 months really helped me to just unwind, reflect, and remind myself of the reasons why I decided to embark on this journey.
Okay, I hear you. Also, one of your favorite quotes, I know that it's one by Nelson Mandela, where it says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And you were on your very, very last attempt. How I know, yeah, while we are busy talking, you do say that you told yourself that this is do or die. So I'm doing this, I am giving it my all. But I'm sure like it's life, things happen. Sometimes you feel discouraged, you don't feel motivated. How did you keep yourself going?
So the first thing is that I had to remind myself again why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because, whenever you experience speed humps along the way, you start like all the negative thoughts come, and then you start feeling like a failure and you feel like you can't do it anymore, So I had to really just reflect and remind myself of why I started this journey to begin with and what the fruits of my labor would be. So I decided to look at the end result, like what would happen post me completing this whole CA journey. So that's what I did. And then not only that, you need support. So I got a lot of support from my family members. I got a lot of support from my friends. I got a lot of support from qualified CAs as well, who just really just helped me to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I think they helped to just remotivate me again. So your support structure is extremely important, because sometimes you get so overwhelmed by your situation that you end up feeling sorry for yourself. So you need almost like external people to remind you of why you decided to embark on this to begin with, so that you can push through. So yeah.
No, I hear you. Thank you for that, Grace. So just to remind everyone at home, you can send through your questions or comments that you have for Grace while we are busy talking. I will take those. Going back to, I love the part where you touched on the part that it's important to have a good support structure. But also, let's say your mom, your family, your sister, they can support you, but they've never been in this journey that you are embarking on. So the motivation would just be, no, you want this, keep going. And you also said that you had motivation from other qualified CAs. So did you have a mentor on this journey? And how important would you say it is to be not necessarily mentored, but guided by someone who has been on this journey?
So yeah, I didn't have a mentor as such, but I would like to say that there is a particular person from my workplace who is a qualified CA that, I would speak to this person and sort of like, explain where I'm at, the things I'm going through. And sort of this person would really encourage me, to remain focused, and would even give me tips on how to try and do things differently, because you can imagine, like I said, I've always been a diligent person. So it's not like I was slacking, but it becomes more frustrating when you know that you're studying hard and still you keep failing, because you start doubting your capabilities and you're like, but what's wrong with me? Because you know very well that you're an intelligent person, but the results are not reflecting that. You can imagine. And then not only that, you can imagine somebody who is younger than me coming and passing and even qualifying as a CA. It is very humbling, So I've had to really, I think more than anything, I've had to rely on God, just to sort of keep me centered, firstly, to believe in myself, but also this particular colleague as well would really help to remind me to not give up and to keep pursuing this thing and being resilient. That's why I put that quote by Nelson Mandela, where it says that it always seems impossible until it is done. Because when you have not yet done it, it really seems impossible. The stakes are high. You hear people talking about the failure rates, the pass rate, or whatever it might be, And on top of it, if you yourself have been part of those statistics, it's very difficult to also pick yourself up. But I think that's why I said you need to also go back to who you are and what keeps you grounded, and also your support structure, because all these different things help you to get back on track. Not only that, I think even from the Endunam team as well, like the lecturers have been amazing, because I've also reached out to them. I've had conversations with some of them, even on a personal front, and they've also helped to motivate me to like say that, you know what, Grace, you can do it, So yes, it's a whole lot of different things.
So now you're stealing my questions, because next I wanted to come to Injunam. You're stealing
I
my
know,
questions.
we can continue. I just touched on it. Yeah,
So
I didn't expand.
Yeah, so I can take it from it. Thank you very much for the intro. So you've passed CTA now. You decide, I need help. Let me go and join Enjunamo. How was the journey doing ITC and being a part of Enjunamo? So let's unpack the Enjunamo journey for you.
So also during this week when we were chatting, you asked me a question about Endunamu, how my experience was, and you mentioned how Endunamu is really, they have that personal touch. And honestly speaking, I mean, I had done like a board course with, I think, is it the Gauteng board course, and also just other small sort of service providers on my journey. But with Endunamu, I just felt that I wasn't just a number. There was a lot of inclusion. Like, I feel like the Endunamu team goes over and beyond. There's no time limit. I feel like sometimes we even cross personal boundaries in terms of time. But the thing is that nobody would complain no matter what time of day or night you disturb them. I must mention Rindani in this particular conversation, because Rindani will know, I don't know if he's part of this call, but Rindani knows. Yeah, Rindani knows. Like 5 a.m., I'll be asking him questions on WhatsApp. 5 a.m. I'm just 5 a.m. So I'm trying to show you how the Endunamu team goes over and beyond. Imagine somebody answering questions on Manac, costing, strategy at 5 a.m., between 5 and 6, because I knew that he's an early morning person, and so am I. At least I've become an early morning person. So for me, that's the time that worked. And sometimes I'd send him a message at that time, expecting him to respond maybe at 9, 10, or whatever during the day. No. So I'm just trying to sort of show you that the Endunamu team goes over and beyond personal. I mean, yeah, like it's. I don't think other service providers do that. They're very helpful. They encourage, they motivate, and help you to keep focused. And sometimes I feel that they believe in you more than you believe in yourself. So honestly, like I think that Endunamu, my experience with Endunamu has been absolutely amazing. And that's why, because if you think about it, I failed ITC many times, and I could have said, oh no, the Endunamu team is not great. They're not doing their work properly. Look at me failing all the time. But I knew that me failing was not as a result of them lacking in any form or shape. So I knew it was more about my own weaknesses that I needed to overcome. So definitely my Endunamu experience has been top notch. I cannot fault them at all. So yeah.
While doing your ITC, I know that I'm sure after the first attempt, second, third, you keep asking yourself, where are the gaps? I'm not that clued up about the CA field, but the short amount of time I've been here, you'd hear people say that I need assistance with exam technique or how to my study approach, helps with tutorials. So what would you say were the gaps that you identified that here you were lacking, and maybe some way, somehow they assisted you in acquiring your ITC in the end?
So with me, I think the reason why I kept failing this thing, ITC, is because I just kept making the same mistakes over and over again, even though I thought I was correcting them. Time was definitely a factor. And I mean, you hear it all the time that you need to plan, you need to write exams. I mean, questions under exam conditions. Like, you know the stuff in your head, but practically, do you actually do it? I'm talking about when you're practicing at home, you're practicing questions, you're going through different past papers and that kind of thing. Sometimes I would realize that I would start a question paper, and halfway through, if I felt it was too difficult, I was already looking at the solution. Like, I wasn't disciplined to follow through with a 3-hour paper, regardless of how difficult I felt it was. So in terms of, I would do postmortems, especially with the very last one, when I wrote in January last year. I did a postmortem on all 4 papers that we wrote to try and see what were the consistent mistakes that I made, of which, to tell you the honest truth, I think I've always known, but I have never really addressed them. So time being one of them. 2, not reading questions properly, because Psycho releases the solutions afterwards, and I would read the solutions and I'll be like, but I know this stuff. Like, I really know this stuff. So why am I failing? So that was so frustrating for me, because I was like, no, yes, maybe here and there were knowledge gaps, but generally it wasn't a knowledge gap thing. I think it was a factor of maybe not being fully focused on the day that I was writing, time, not reading questions carefully. Sometimes, even if I read questions, I think I didn't quite comprehend fully what the question was asking. So you end up going completely left, So that's why I think those are some of the contributing factors, maybe, I think, to why I was not successful. And so this time around in preparation, I think what made the extra difference, other than me telling myself that I was not going to fail, like, there was absolutely no room for failure. I didn't even want to entertain anybody saying, oh, what if you fail? My friends will tell you, my colleagues will tell you that I did not even want to hear it. I told myself, I'm passing, okay? And then secondly, when I enrolled again within Dunamu, and I would attempt all the tutorials. I attempted the mock exams this time around, like all of them. And I think that really helped me, because the markers give you so much detailed feedback. So yes, I've been doing it within Dunamu for some time, but it was always sort of general comments. So this time around, I think what made the difference in helping me to be successful with the November ITC exam was that I really studied the comments that I got, especially if, let's say, I did really, really badly in a paper. I would go and look at every single section and see what the markers said and really try and change it going forward. So that, I think, really made a world of difference, because then I was able to correct consistent errors that I was making.
So, yeah. That's good. Very, very interesting, especially because you say that you felt like you knew that, no, I know these things, so why am I failing, like constantly? It's very interesting. So I want us to go back to the day the results were released, the exam. I remember on that day, Rendani was posting in the group. He was like, oh my gosh, guys, 5 minutes left until the results are released. 2 minutes left. And in my head, like, I was looking at the messages and I'm thinking, if he's feeling like this, how are the candidates feeling? So how was your day? Let's start that day from when you bought. How was that day? How was it for you?
So can I tell you, at work, we are busy doing our budgets, right? And budgets in the banking industry, for those who are in the banking industry, you will know, it's very hectic, it's very stressful. So for me, come the Friday of the results, like, I was so consumed with work that I don't think I even had time to really get into the emotions of things. I mean, like, I knew that the results were coming out, but I was so busy. But then I was working half day because there was no ways I was going to work a full day when the results were coming out. So I worked half day, and then, I knew the results were coming out at 4:00. A friend of mine called me in the early morning hours, and we prayed, not in the early morning hours, but in the morning. And we prayed together, because I think she was feeling a little bit restless. So after that prayer, I was at peace. So, because I was like, you know what? Remember already, I told you, in my mind, I had decided I have passed. I did not want to entertain anything else because it was do or die, remember? So then in the afternoon, I did everything possible to avoid 4:00. I drove to go see my family. I was even running errands for my mom. 4:00 came and passed. By the way, I switched off my phone. I gave my phone to my younger sister, and I said to my younger sister, I'm not checking the results until I am back in my own home. So to cut a very long story short, whilst people were busy checking their SMSs at 4:00, I only actually checked my SMS at 5 to 7 p.m. on Friday. I just had this peace because I was like, you know what, whether I check it at 4:00 or I check it at 6 or I check it at 9, the result is in, you can't change it. So I guess maybe also because it was my last attempt, I was like, you know what, maybe I was just trying to avoid it. I don't know. So of course I was ecstatic when I saw that I had. I was like, my God came through for me. So yeah.
God's grace was upon you. Do you see?
Amen. I am always favored, highly favored. Definitely.
I can't believe you kept on postponing looking at your results for the whole day. I mean, you looked at
The
a few
whole
hours.
day. The whole day. And mind you, in previous attempts, like 4 o'clock, my phone was there and I would be checking my SMS. So this time round was very unusual. I have never, ever delayed looking at my results, but this time round I did. I think it was because it was my last attempt.
No,
So
2020 was really a special year indeed. It was a special year.
definitely, definitely.
So you've passed your ITC now. You are done. What I know you touched on practicing questions, attending all the tutorials, having a good support structure. But what other elements would you say they are the key to being successful during your examinations and also while preparing for your examinations?
So I think it's really important that you get your head in the game. So if you feel that you are, especially now for the ITC candidates, I mean, they're going to write now next month. And I mean, obviously they wrote in November, same time as me, and they're probably feeling really demotivated. So you really need to just sort of focus again. You need to get your head in the game. You need to forget about your past failures. I mean, you need to take it from me. I am living proof that this thing can be done. Really, I am living proof. And I passed at a time when the pass rate was extremely low. So if that isn't testament enough, then I don't know what is. So I think you need to reach a point where you get your head in the game, remain focused, on what it is that you're trying to achieve and why you decided to embark on the CA journey. It is crucial. I think that's the first step. Then once you've dealt with the emotional things of stopping, because you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself at some point in time. So once you're over that hurdle and you're focused in terms of now what it is that you're trying to achieve, the next steps are trying to sort of do a post-mortem to see, okay, what went wrong? Why did you go wrong? And understand also what was going on, in your personal environment, because you might have been studying, but you also might have been distracted by so many other things happening in your home environment. So this time round, I would say that you need to sort of be focused and try. It's difficult because we're all doing life here. It's try and not be dissuaded by what other things are going on in your home environment. Like, you need to be able to separate it so that you are successful in the next attempt. So first get your head in the game, do postmortems, and then study, because the postmortem will show you where you went wrong. Address those issues, whether it's through lecturers, whether it's through friends, whether it's you just studying more or going back to basics. But I feel that is what you can do to pick yourself up from where you were. So yeah.
And how important do you feel it is to take breaks while studying? Not necessarily long breaks, but giving yourself a moment to just sit back. Maybe like for a day. There was a time when I joined Brendan, it was like I need to drink a cup of tea, maybe for like an hour or so, to sit and reflect. So how would you say, how did you cope, or what can the candidates use to cope when they feel like, no, I'm not coping at all, or I've been studying for so long, but nothing is getting in?
Okay. So what I forgot to mention earlier, when I was talking about the support that I received from family and friends, I forgot to mention that a few people, most of them actually are from Ndunamo, were studying with Ndunamo. We actually created a group, and every single Saturday for 30 to 45 minutes, we would actually, first of all, we would sort of discuss the challenges. So it wasn't always, in fact, we were not really talking about technical stuff in that group, in that it was actually a Zoom call. We were talking about sort of unpacking how we were feeling about our journey and our state of readiness before we wrote in November. So we talk about where we are at.
Sorry to cut you, sort of like a therapy session of some sort.
Like a therapy session. I think it's really important. So, because it's going back to the question where you were saying, like, taking breaks and stuff. This is also, I feel like, us having that Zoom call would be us, yes, because we could all relate to one another. We talk about how we're feeling, how we're handling the situation, what we can do better. So it wasn't really to talk about principles. It was just about getting our state, our mental well-being in order, you know. So we would pray every single Saturday for I think the month leading up to writing the November exam. But then also in terms of so that helped me to sort of, you know, unwind a bit. But also, I mean, I would go and visit friends, you know. In terms of study breaks, like I would watch, guys, I watch series. I talk to people. Hey?
You have time for TV.
Yeah, no,
And
so guys, it's different for everyone. Sorry?
And on top of that, you have a full-time job. You have time to watch to visit your friends. No.
Yes. Okay. So let me say this. When I visit my friends, it's not like I'm visiting them for long or visiting family for long. I mean, it was for certain periods of time. But before I do that, I'd always make sure that I've done what I need to do. So firstly, I would make sure that my study commitments are handled, you know. And if, let's say, it is a weekend where I'm studying at home by myself, in terms of the breaks, when I say that I'd watch series or whatever, for me, watching series was something that helped me to sort of get away from the seriousness of what I was trying to do. So I would just, you know, get into the world of somebody else. Like you need to de-stress. So you need to find what works for you. For other people, it's running, walking, whatever it is, exercising. So you need to find what helps you to unwind. And then after you take that break or whatever it is, you go back and you study. So I think I was disciplined in that way, in that as much as I would go and do my side things, when I studied properly. So yeah.
Planning is important.
Definitely. I'm a big planner. Definitely. Definitely.
And when things change along the way, let's say you make plans and then things change, does it disturb you in any way, or you're like, you just pick it up and move on?
You know what? So work has helped me to learn that things keep changing all the time. So you plan one thing, something else happens, you know, so you are constantly kept on your feet. So, I mean, and I think this whole CA journey helps us to sort of become flexible. You have to become flexible because you're dealing with work, you're dealing with studies, you're dealing with family, you're dealing with personal relationships, you're dealing with your extra activities, whatever it might be, whether you go to church or whatever responsibilities you might have. So you need to be able to balance all those things. And that's where planning is crucial. So when things change, you need to be able to be flexible to move from one thing to another without compromising what is important to you. So your CA journey is important to you. So if other things are moving parts, you need to somehow manage those other moving parts so that you don't neglect what you're trying to do, which is to pass. Yeah.
Yes. No,
yeah.
okay. You also mentioned that while learning more about the CA field or the career in becoming a CA, one of the characteristics that grew in you was the spirit of being resilient. So what other things or characteristics or skills, no, let's stick to characteristics or personal development that you would say this journey has assisted you in identifying? Maybe they were there, but you didn't know they were there.
Sure, that's a difficult one because I think I always pride myself on resilience because I mean, I've been on this journey for long and I have not given up and I'm not giving up. I mean, I'm going to write APC this year and I've told myself already that I'm going to pass it. So resilience for me, it's a mindset, right? But then you asked me about other character traits. You need to be patient. I think I've also learned patience all these years, being patient, you know, because for me, some of these things were unanswered prayers because I couldn't understand why am I not moving to the next level, you know? So patience is something that I've had to learn over and above resilience. And then also sort of inner strength, you know. You need to be, yes, fine, you have your support structure, they motivate you, etc., your lecturers, whoever it might be, but you need to be able to motivate yourself. So you need to build that willpower. So for me, I think it goes hand in hand with resilience, that willpower, to actually push through. I think that's something that I have definitely picked up on this journey. Yeah, those are some of the few traits I can think of.
Resilience and power.
Patience.
So that's and
Yes.
patience. So
Yes.
okay. So you're not taking a break already. You're jumping into APC. You just want to finish.
No break. There's no, because if I take a break, then I'm going to become lazy. I can already see outside of my work, I'm already seeing that I'm becoming lazy because I'm not so structured as I was last year. Last year, I had to be structured. So because obviously I was working, studying, and I had so many other things going on as well, I had to be structured. And I feel like in being structured, I was more disciplined and I got more things done. So if I'm to take a break now, oh no, I feel like I'm going to be going in reverse. I've got that momentum right now because I'm like, wow, Grace, you passed. God helped you to pass this thing. You finally overcame. Your story can be encouraging to somebody else out there. So I'm like, no, there's no, we're going. We're finished. Remember, I said I wanted to write APC last year already. So there's no time to waste. I want to live my best life. I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I want to experience these opportunities that this career affords me. So therefore, there's no break. No, none at all. I'm
then
ready.
After, when you say that you want to enjoy the fruits of what this career has in store for you, what else would you like? What are your dreams or aspirations after being qualified as a chartered accountant?
See, I can't share that because somebody might take some of my ideas. But but I have a few interests up my sleeve, which I feel would take a bit of time for me to get them started. But I feel like as a starting point, I need to just obtain this qualification because, you want people to take you seriously. So I like the credibility that the profession affords us, because if I just go out there and I'm approaching people and doing this and that, nobody's going to take me seriously. But at least if they can see that, okay, I've got this qualification backing me, we can have a conversation. We can start a conversation. And then thereafter, my personality, my skill set, and everything else will wow them. But to get a foot in the door, I need the qualification.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. And then afterwards, you'll go back to dancing because you said that you've lost your touch a bit.
No. No, that's just a pastime. That is not a profession to me anyway. It's not. Yeah.
As a hobby on the side, it could become a side hustle. You don't know. Next time you could feature in a music video as a vixen. You never know. You should explore.
I have no. I will leave it to these up and coming stars. No, I'm okay really here. I'll keep it indoors. Yeah.
Okay, Grace. So you said you did mention that ITC candidates will be sitting for their exams in April. So any last question from me, any words of encouragement to them? I'm sure you've heard that SAICA has given some of them an opportunity not to sit for the April sitting, but to choose to sit for September. Mm-hmm. You can just imagine what's going on through their mind, because maybe majority of them, because I remember we had an open day session with the majority of the repeating candidates, and you could hear the sense of it, that what was echoing throughout our engagement was that majority of them said that I really, really thought that I had this in the bag. So I honestly don't know what went wrong. So what would you can imagine their minds are all over the place. They don't know, should I sit in April and do this, or should I just wait, give myself more time and go to September? So what words of encouragement could you give to them at this time?
So firstly, I'd just like to say to the ITC candidates who are writing, whether you're writing next month or you're writing in September, is that first and foremost, don't give up. I am living testimony that this thing can be done. That's a starting point. So I have been in your shoes. I have failed many times. I have doubted my capabilities from time to time. I've wondered if this profession is even for me or not. I've gone through all the emotions. So it's not like I'm sitting here gloating. I have been there. I've experienced disappointment and heartache. But the good thing is that you have another opportunity, whether it's your last opportunity or another attempt, it doesn't really matter. But you have an opportunity to write again. So that's why I'm saying that you need to first deal with your mindset, because you can study all you like, but if your head is not in the game, you are not going to make it, because you need to have a positive mindset to believe in yourself that you can do it. I said earlier that I told myself that this is my last attempt. It's do or die. I refused to allow doubt to creep in, even though naturally, from time to time, those feelings of doubt will come, but I would quickly dismiss them, because you need to tell yourself that this thing is yours and you're going to pass. So deal with your mental psyche. If you need to see somebody, speak to somebody, do it. But make sure that you believe in yourself so that you can actually pass. You have a fighting chance. After you have told yourself and you've made the decision to say that, I'm passing, then actually begin the process of studying. And then the postmortem is extremely important. I did it because, if you don't understand where you went wrong, how on earth are you going to go and write next month or write in September? So you know yourself. If you know that deep down in your heart, you were not really adequately prepared, my suggestion or my recommendation is that, you know what, if it's not your last attempt, maybe postpone it to September and work diligently between now and September. Of course, if it's your last, well, I guess they say that this attempt is not going to count for some people, but if it's not your last attempt and you feel that you didn't adequately prepare and there's a lot of gaps, I would suggest you write in September. But if you feel that the knowledge is there and maybe for whatever reason you were distracted when you were writing the November exam, or you misinterpreted questions like I said I would often do, then maybe you just need to make sure that you work on the things that caused you to not be successful in the November 20 exam. So then go ahead and write. So you need to understand yourself as to where you are and be honest with yourself. Don't be pressurized by your peers who want to write next month. Make a personal decision for yourself. Understand where you are in your learning journey, because it is you who's going to write that paper, nobody else. So deep down in your heart, if you don't feel that you are ready, I would recommend that you don't write in April, that you rather write in September. But like I said, also, if you feel that, no, you've got this, you understand, it's just more about exam technique, not reading questions properly or whatever, then go ahead and write next month. But everybody must make that personal decision for themselves and be honest with themselves in terms of where they are. So that's my advice. And you can do it. Believe in yourself, you'll make it.
And remember why you started in the first place.
I preach it all the time. All the time.
Okay, I know I said that was my last question, but I lied. So I just remembered something now. I know you said that you attempted all the mock exams, the preps. Was there ever one that you failed and then it just demotivated you in a way because you thought that you had it in the bag, but then you failed it? And how did you overcome that feeling?
That happened like all the time. All the time. I would go in and I would write and I'd feel like, no, I've got this. I understand the question. I'd write. Even after writing those mock exams, I felt that, you know what, look, I'm sure I've passed this thing. Maybe I might not be getting a distinction, but I've passed it. And then the result would be the complete opposite. We talk about getting results that resemble or reflect your shoe size. No, guys, I have been there. So I have been surprised many a time. And in terms of getting myself remotivated again, like I mentioned earlier, that I would read the markers' comments and try to understand, why did I miss the boat completely? Because in my mind, I felt like the paper was okay, but yet I completely went in the opposite direction. So I think it's really important from attempting those mock exams and the tutorials and all of that to really, really pay attention to the markers' comments, because those comments are tailor-made for you and your issues. It's not general comments. So if you pay attention, you'll be fine. If you work diligently and try to correct the mistakes, you'll be fine.
Well, thank you so much. I had so much fun, but unfortunately, Time is, remember I told you yesterday that once you start talking, time just flies. It flies. So I really hope that our candidates at home took something away, because I also took something away from this conversation. It was really an inspiring and very interesting story. So thank you so much for your time, Grace.
Thank you to you as well.
So I know you don't want to sing for me, but you did say that your family is from Uganda. The official language is Swahili there, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, but it is one of the languages that is spoken there. Swahili generally is spoken in most East African countries, but the major tribe in Uganda is the Baganda people. So the main language outside of English is Luganda, because we were colonized by the British. So practically everybody can speak English in Uganda. But in terms of our local languages, it's Luganda and not Swahili. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was so. You learn something new every day. So I want you to teach me how to say goodbye in your home language, good night in your home language.
Tambula bulungi, meaning yes,
no,
go well. That's a direct translation.
It's tambula.
Bulungi means well.
Oh, tambula bulungi.
That's it.
And something
and then you can respond by saying Kale.
And what does that mean?
Kale just means like sort of thank you, like, and then you can even say, you can repeat the same thing to the person as well. It's for them to go well.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much for your time. And to everyone at home, Tambula Bunchi. Tune in again next week for another inspiring, very good session. Your host next week will be Mr. Susan Kosi, so please do not miss that. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you to you as well.
Bye.